Hello and welcome to Thursday's episode of our daily bite-size tips for improving your business. As you know, we're going to speak about KPIs, key performance indicators, the bane of some people's life in certain agencies, no doubt, Ian, but a massive important factor of improving business performance, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And how many do you have? Do you have any?
Yes.
That's important, the volume of KPIs that you've got that you focus on. And what is your style with KPIs as a leadership manager, owner, estate agent, a negotiator, a junior negotiator, valuer, whatever you may be. But what do you want to be known as is the KPI that I would suggest that you kind of focus on, because those metrics become your identity and your reputation in agency, and reputation is so important for our industry, internal and external. So yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of talking about KPIs. I am a big numbers person, but I'm not heavy on just the numbers. I want to know where I am. I want to know what they are. There's a time and place and a sliver for it, but I'm also focused on the thing that's above the KPIs, which is like the one thing that you're working on. That's my kind of summary before we dive into the meat and bones of it, really. What about you?
Well, I just want to come back to the point that you made. I'm not a massive numbers person. I'll talk about that in a minute. But the importance of it is I want to know where I am and I want to know where I'm going. So probably since working with Royston as our business coach, we've become more focused on the KPIs, and I look at them. We have a sheet that has got them all on a monthly basis, and we have what Royston calls lead and lag indicators on the KPIs. So we're looking at new business generation, and then things like sales agreed and completions, which is the results of the new business generation. And I think when you are looking at your KPIs, you can go mad with them, but I think it's really important to have the two factors so that you know when you might encounter issues, or, as we did last year, when things are going really well and you can increase your targets. Because I think, having KPIs are great, but you have to have the targets that you hit. And if things are going really well, you have to push them further. If things are going not so well, you need to be able to see problems before they arise. And that, for me, is the importance of KPIs as a snapshot. But I'm not obsessed with numbers. I don't particularly like the numbers, but what I am understanding more as I become more experienced is they are essential in the business. And actually, as any sales business, this industry is quite often about the numbers. And depending, you might say, oh well, it's not about numbers to me. We're not a volume business. That's great. We don't consider ourselves a volume business either. But it's about numbers in terms of fees. Then it's still, and that's about numbers in terms of phone calls, valuations, or whatever you want to call them. All of the numbers in this industry are so important. So you can track whatever you want, but ultimately, you've got to be tracking something to know if you're going to be able to improve business performance.
Yeah, absolutely. And the numbers relate to the metric which is most vital. If you ever listen to my first episode, or when I was a guest and you asked me the question, what does world-class estate agency look like to you? It was profit.
Yeah.
And whether you're an estate agent that's paid on commission as an employee, then it will be your commission, which is your equivalent of profit. If you're the owner, it's profit. If you're a self-employed agent, it's the dividends that you can pay yourself. That's the ultimate metric. We've spoke about the kind of satellite, mountain, and on the ground kind of view. And I always think that in a year, there's one big KPI, one big target. For me this year, there's a particular gross profit target for the group. That's the kind of the big one that I'm focused on. And then split from that is two kind of sub goals. So there's three KPI targets, one big priority target, and then two kind of sub targets that are very much KPI led. They're very much metrics. They're measurable, monthly, weekly, daily, if you want to look at it that way. And that's my three kind of things that each year, if you like, that I want to move the needle on. I want to try and perfect. So it's like primary and the two secondaries. but in my head it's just 3 goals, but I know one is a big one. And then normally what I find is each month that we go into, there's a bit of a theme and a bit of a culture shift that's geared towards one of those. You mentioned metrics. So let's say, for example, if one of them was increasing your valuation to listing conversion rate, let's say the group or one of the businesses or one of the people that's listening had a bit of a low year last year on that. So everything is then geared in this month towards how can we improve that? What do we need to do to improve it? And then you would go through the list of all of the different things. And then the habits start to form. The focus is there. The team's aware of it. And it goes back to the identity. If you are the agent that's got the elite conversion rate on sales to listing, that's the metric you're talking about in your one-to-ones. You're driving your team behind. That is your thing. That's amazing, because focus on the thing that you're really good at. And then what are the other two that you're kind of working around? And that's how I like to play with KPIs, basically. As an owner, it's slightly different because you've got your figure sheet that you'll look at with Royston. And what we're looking for there is, what are the 3 things? Are they on track last month? And what's the anomalies that stand out? You know, why was that cost so high? Or why was that conversion rate different? What stands out as you look at kind of 2024's spreadsheet and all the columns and cells and go, oh, that's a bit weird. That's why, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And then you can move on from it and do the work effectively.
Yeah, and like you said, that month focus on the one thing and the cultural shift within the team. That is sufficient time to move the needle on a KPI. And sometimes it is just about pointing people in the right direction. That this is the focus for this month, and you're not only getting the benefit in that month because, of course, as you said, you create the good habits. The good techniques. It might just be often it's just one thing that someone hears in a training session, in a conversation team meeting, that helps them improve their conversion rate. That then shouldn't go back to the way it was before that month, but you rely on the brain space to focus on that month, and then it sticks in there. And next month might be converting sales applicants to viewings or whatever part of the business you're in. So I think having that focus on, as you said, maybe just some really important KPIs, because no doubt there will be businesses out there that are focusing on too many and therefore not able to give attention to the ones that will really make a difference. And that's a challenge in itself.
Yeah. And I think if you've got your goals, your targets, your metrics, whatever they are, the acronym that I kind of attached it from probably 10, 15 years ago is to think WAR. So when you look at a KPI, think WAR. Why and result is the things that I used to look at. So why is it the KPI?
Yeah.
Why is it important to you? Because then you'll attach some sort of emotional connection to it. Why do you want a better viewing to offer ratio within your office? Well, then because we can do less viewings, so we've got more time to focus on more lead gen. Whatever the kind of knockback result is, why and result, and what is the result of achieving that KPI? And then if you just look at WAR on every single one, it's really easy to then actually not just have it as a number or a thing that you think you should have, but a reason to why you do it and the result reminder of what happens if you do achieve it. So yeah, take WAR to every KPI, and that will just help you connect with it a little bit more emotionally. I find I have to be connected with a target or I'm not interested. So that's my way of kind of connecting to it, basically, through WAR.
Yeah, and you mentioned we'll talk about tomorrow's episode now, just very, very briefly. If you are listening and your KPI is about profit as well, because there is going to be inevitably conversations around improving your profit for tomorrow's episode.
Yeah, we might upset a few people tomorrow as well. No names mentioned, but we're gonna talk and dive into prop tech. Is there too much? What do you need? What should we have? And that world of kind of magpie syndrome that we sit in. So that's the Friday episode. We've done that one on the Friday for a bit of fun.
Thanks very much for listening.